Hey gamers, what's up? Welcome to Gamer Life. Today I'm counting down my top 10 introductory board games. These games I like to use to show not just new people into board games, but for people who are new to gaming in general, because they have light rules, quick playtime, and the concepts are not too unfamiliar to people to wrap their heads around and understand and sit down and play a game. So these are the games that I like to show to new players. Now, some games that just fell off this list are Sushi Go, Las Vegas, Lost Cities, and Carcassonne. So let's start up with my number 10, Foumula D. Now, why I chose Foumula D, because why Foumula D made my top 10 is because its core mechanic is just roll and move, just like Monopoly. You select the gear that you want, and you roll that dice, and you move that many spaces forward. And it's a racing game, so pretty much the first player to cross the finish line wins. So it has some very simple mechanics, and one lap races is not that long. It takes about an hour. 2-lap races will take a lot longer, but I don't play 2-lap races with new players. It's always 1 lap. So that's my number 10, Foumula D. My number 9 is a very simple game called Splendor. Splendor is an economic game, not really an economic game. You're trying to get 15 points. And to do that, you're buying diamonds to get more diamonds. And to build an engine, per se, to get more diamonds, to get the most points. Because the person who has 15 points at the end of the game is the winner. And Splendor is a really simple game to get into. You just match the colors, and if you get those colors, you get a bigger discount on the next one you buy. So that's why it's my number 9, Splendor. My number 8 is a co-op game called Forbidden Island. Forbidden Island, players are on this island that's sinking and have to get 4 treasures and get back to the helicopter and take off before the island sinks. And it's a very light, simple co-op because and each player has variable player power, so that's also something I like in my games, especially games I can show other players. The presentation of the game is very nice. The 4 little treasures you're trying to get are nice, solid plastic pieces. So it has a good visual aesthetic for players. So that's why I like it to be my number 8 for Forbidden Island. My number 7 is a game that I personally do not play anymore, but I still recommend it for players to play because it is a very influential game. And that is Settlers of Catan, or I think they just call it Catan right now. Settlers of Catan is what got me into board games. At the time, one of my friend's girlfriend had it, and she brought it to the table one day after we finished playing some cards, and she showed it to us, and I fell in love with board games ever since. I never played any game that has such different mechanics and interaction with other players and trying to score points, trying to get the longest road, moving the robber around the board. It was really cool, and that was my gateway game into board games. And I wouldn't be sitting here right now talking to you if it wasn't for Catan. That's why it made my number 7, Settlers of Catan. Number 6 is a very simple, elegant game called Tokaido. Tokaido. In Tokaido, players are moving along the ancient road in feudal Japan. I forget the name of the road. It'll come to me later. Anyway, Tokaido players are going along the road, and the person who is furthest back in the line gets to go next. So you can jump ahead if you want, but it's going to take you a while before you get to your turn again. And the game is beautiful to look at. Everything in the game is excellently done. The artwork is great. Everybody plays a different character, so everyone has a special power, which is also great. I don't play it without the expansion anymore because I find the game too simplistic, but for new players I play it with the expansion. So that's my number 6, Tokaido. My number 5 is kind of 2 games in one. That is King of Tokyo, King of New York. Now, I have not played King of New York, but I played King of Tokyo several times. King of Tokyo is a very simple dice rolling game in which you're rolling these, I believe, 6 dice, and you get 1 initial roll and then 2 more rerolls. And you're either trying to knock out the other players or trying to get 20 points. It's a very simple game. It's a very light game. It's made by the person that made Magic the Gathering, so it has his name on it. So it's a very simple game. It's a very light game. The dice are nice and chunky. All the characters look kind of look cool. You have King Kong, you have a monster, you have a bunny. It's a very good game. I've seen it in other medias being played or on the shelves and TVs and movies. So that's why it's my number 5, King of Tokyo. My number 4 is For Sale. For Sale is an auction game, and the player with the most money is the winner. Now, how For Sale works is it essentially has 2 parts. The first part, you're buying properties to then flip in the second part for checks. And it's very quick, it's very simple. It's a good auction game that plays up to 6 players, takes 20 minutes. I enjoy the 2-part aspect of it, in which the first part you're just buying and the second part you're selling. So it is 2 different games all in one box. It only takes about 20 minutes. That's why it's my number 4, For Sale. My number 3 is a very simple card game called No Thanks. In No Thanks, you're trying to get the least number of points possible, but you're constantly taking cards, and the cards have points on them. So you're constantly taking points, even though you're trying to get the least number of points. Now, how you don't take a card is by putting down your little poker chips you have. Everyone starts with, I believe, 11. You will put down 1, and the turn will pass. And if it comes back to you, you either have to take the card or play one of your poker chips. And each poker chip is negative points. But what's happening is, as people pass, because they don't want those high number cards, more of those poker chips are piling up on that card. So it's a little push your luck in the sense in which you're trying to see if that card can go around one more time before you take all those negative points. True, you're taking points with them, but you also have a handful of negative points too, which is also helpful in the later rounds. And I have never played one game by itself. I've always played 2 games back to back. That's why it's my number 3, No Thanks. Number 2 is another co-op that's very popular, especially with the release of the Legacy one, and that is Pandemic. Pandemic is a very simple game in which all 4 players are working together to try to cure the 4 diseases that's wreaking havoc across the board. It's a very simple game. It's a very elegant game. You can actually teach the game as you play the game because it's so simple. You're just trying to. Each player has a character that has their own special powers, and you're moving around the board trying to stop the spread of diseases. Now, there is one big problem with Pandemic, is the fact that it does lead to some quarterbacking problems in which one player will tell all the other players what to do, because there is usually only 1 to 2 good options in Pandemic, and if you don't do those 2 options, you're not really helping the group out and to stop the spread of these 4 diseases. But it's still an excellent game. It's still a game that I'd like to play with new players, even though I don't play it anymore. I think Defenders of the Realm is a better game. That's the one I play, but Pandemic still has a place on my shelf for new players. And by now, my number 1 is the king of introductory board games, and that is Ticket to Ride. There's not much left to say about Ticket to Ride. Very simple, very elegant. You're just laying some track, getting some points, getting your connections, and try to be the person at the end of the game with the most points. Very simple. There's a ton of expansions. I believe there's 2 or 3 different versions now. I don't know. There's so much stuff out there for this game because it is an excellent game. I've seen a Target, Toys R Us, all over the place. It's an excellent game. And I have never been inside a game store that doesn't have at least 1 copy as a demo to show players what board games is about. That's why it's my number 1, Ticket to Ride. So that wraps up my top 10 introductory board games. Thanks for watching. And remember, I believe there's a game for everyone.